Aloha, y'all. It is Saturday, ruled by Saturn, the 19th of December. We're just trucking through this month, ain't we? It's a heart chakra day. It is a red overtoned serpent guided by space, according to the galactic calendar of the dream spell calendar. It is a heart chakra day, like I was saying, the Anahata chakra. So be focusing on unconditional love, self compassion, compassion for others, loving kindness, as they say. Do the mantras, do the mudras. Mantra is Yam, YM. Mudra is having this over your heart and then this over here, kind of doing your thing. Do the magic. You will be surprised, dare I say, elated with the results if you continue to do chakra toning. We've had Jonathan Goldman on the podcast. That's who I use for my tones. But there's all sorts of options out there, so don't sleep on that. All right, so let's go ahead and get a card for the day. Let me just shuffle this up a little. What wants to pop? Well, we've got Zero, the Sacred Clown. So this is actually it's a Zero card. There's 22 major arcana, and there's an excellent documentary called 21 Faces of God. This is what makes it 22, Zero, that kind of numerological weirdness. So the Zero, the Sacred Clown, the Fool card, though. Take the leap of faith and be free, stepping out from the void, embracing your inexperiences, living in your potential, and exploring your world. The Sacred Clown, I laugh at the game of life. The Sacred Clown, or Heoka from the Lakota tradition, knows that nothing we think is actually true. No belief is fixed. As trickster and shaman converge, he probes beneath the veil of normality to reveal the astonishing and unexpected, indeed, the gap between you and what you have understood to be you. His words are like a lightning bolt which can pierce the heart chakra, dare I say. Hopefully this isn't just nudging up on my microphone constantly. It might be. I'm sure to make it less so. All right. This card depicts the Sacred Clown dressed in black and white striped antler hat, grinning mischievously as a burst of flames shoots from his fingers. Naked and painted to the waist, he is surrounded by walls of garish graffiti which appear to be alive, morphing, moving strands of hypnotic color, bursting with energy. Standing on a path bedecked with sharp-toothed traps of ill-gotten gold, he appears unconcerned that they might cause him injury. An almighty star ball of molten fire glows and puckers close behind, and he is indifferent. He is touched by everything and damaged by nothing. Seeing the cosmic joke, the ultimate illusion, where we see limitation, fear, and pain. At once both innocent and dangerous, his fire pokes holes in the things you take so seriously. He puts a pin into the puffed-up balloon of your story, the triumphs and woes of the past, the projected fears of the future, because he understands the primordial energy of nature is beyond good and evil, beyond human ideas of right and wrong. Joy and pain are united, two sides of the same coin. For me, no other character so epitomized Bowie as the Heoka, the rapier-sharp, wise innocent, the Sacred Clown. He was an absolute master at piercing reality to expose the absurd. It's on page 22, I might add. 22 major arcana in the whole journey. He was, of the Fool's Journey, rather. He was never afraid to experiment and discard the design brief when something perverse and unexpected caught our attention. The enlightened player of the game of life, the contrarian, the challenger of convention, he gave me full permission to risk dancing at the creative edge. Often his visits to our studio would result in howls of laughter, like the time I smuggled a full-size replica of a bull's head into the studio under the cover of darkness to avoid a media frenzy and the outrage from animal rights activists. Waiting in the wings, they were under the false impression that Bowie had sacrificially had a bull killed for the outside photo shoot. That provocative spirit of the clown travels through each card of the Starman Tarot, twisting things around and turning them on their head. Christ, the Sacred Clown, mocked orthodoxy. Buddha, the Sacred Clown, mocked ego attachment, while Gandhi mocked money and power. He invites you to risk big, that you must risk the sting and bite of life to experience its true wonder. The Sacred Clown invites you to live in the exciting potential and freedom of each moment. The Heoka provokes, prods, and startles you out of the hypnotic dance of a monkey mind. You gotta keep that funk alive. He bids you aware that you are not the stream of fear and desire endlessly surfacing, but rather the expansive freedom in which these issues appear and disappear. When you say, quote, I, you are referring to your story. Your story is not true. The burdens you've carried for so long can be put down because they never belonged to you. Something new awaits you on an unexplored path, so step into life fearlessly. Renew, refresh, and rebirth yourself. You are a child, innocent and free. The Sacred Clown, the Fool card, taking the leap of faith and being free, stepping out from the void, embracing your inexperiences, living in your potential, and exploring your world. We all have mad potential. We tend to limit it with habits, beliefs, fear, right, and attachments. So make sure that you're playing the game of life in a very free and loose way, but not in a responsible way potentially. But even that, right, saying, certain frameworks of thinking, no one's getting hurt really. I'm not encouraging like reckless behavior, but I'm saying you have to know where your limits are, you have to know what your preferences are, and no one's going to tell you that but you. To live a life where you don't know yourself, right, know thyself is the maxim, is not to have lived a life at all. We're here to be story, not attach to them too strongly, like it was saying in the Fool card itself, but to know that, the cosmic joke is we're storytellers telling ourselves a story as members in the cast and crew. So, fascinating journey that we're on. Wisdom. So the Fool is the ultimate wise person in the sense that they've gone through the whole journey and they pop back at it again. They say, oh, I'm doing it again. Do it again. Do it again, as Holy Ghost would say. So, wisdom. Some wisdom can't be gained just through theory, right? When you play with fire and you got burned, you know that yourself. You have a new wisdom. I'm trying to find it. I keep passing it, though. Knowledge and then wisdom. Cool. And on a Saturn's day, wisdom is, what we're looking for. Karma, limits. This is the Snape and the Dumbledore, simultaneously, the polarity of wisdom for the Harry Potter journey that we're all on. Wisdom, knowledge, understanding, awareness, self-knowledge, illumination, introspection, withdrawal, insight, and common sense. Key phrases. You are here to become wise. That is the Fool's journey. He becomes wise through experience and then repeats the cycle, one level up, right? It's like a spiral. It's infinite, but it's always increasing in level and degree. Knowledge does not make you wise. Knowing a bunch of shit doesn't make you smart, wise at that level. Wisdom is learning from one's mistakes. Mistakes happen. I know this personally. I make many mistakes as a human, but don't be afraid of making mistakes. When you don't play life, when you don't take risks and go big, reasonably, you don't find wisdom. Apply knowledge, logic, and common sense. Learn from more than just books. Seek out your elders. Time to break a cycle. Heard. Wisdom is understanding. Wisdom is loving the whole. There is no good and evil. There's just loving and accepting the whole. That's the heart chakra. The loving kindness and the compassion for all beings entered into this matrix of being. We're all here. Let's be here now, kind of thing. Wisdom is loving the whole. Know and love your shadow. Right, we're just talking about the parts of yourself that you might be denying. You have unlimited potential. The road ahead leads to many destinations. The Fool's journey takes many twists and turns. The second of the 8 primary reasons for being is to acquire wisdom. While a person can have great knowledge, if they have no understanding, that knowledge will not make them wise. An individual may possess a great capability to retain facts and information, but lack the ability to truly process what they've learned. Some say wisdom cannot be learned from a book. It is something that is learned through experience. True wisdom is born of understanding our experiences. And that Fool's Journey card, once again, saying go experience life. Don't just watch it pass by. But don't commit to the experience so much that you don't keep distance from you in life in that sense. So witness well. Wisdom stems from learning from one's successes and mistakes, both. So don't avoid one or the other. Don't avoid success and think you're not capable of it. And don't avoid failure thinking, it's not possible to fail. One's trials and adventures, one's gains and losses. Wisdom is born of awareness and discernment that allows you to judge the best course of action. In most situations, wisdom is the application of knowledge, logic, and common sense. Wisdom is the synthesis of external information acquired via personal experiences and learning. Fool card hard. It comes from using logic, emotion, and intuition to analyze and understand, to discern the truth, to grow in awareness, and then use that knowledge to find our place and purpose within the universe and to live a good and productive life. When the wisdom card appears in the present position, it is reminding you to look beyond your personal scope, beyond your current opinions. Everyone's got an opinion, and that's okay. Just don't, take them too seriously. You may have been conditioned to believe in dichotomies. You may have been conditioned to define, label, and judge. I know I have. You may have been conditioned to think, behave, and be a certain way. Culture does that. It creates, machines for the empire that it is. But a wise person looks within and sees beyond their conditioning, beyond their opinions, to the truth. This is on page 72, might I add. To do so, they have peeled away the layers of familial and societal indoctrination, fears that have no foundation, insecurities, doubts, and have revealed a person who understands, loves, and accepts the pure and whole nature of the psyche that remains. Heart chakra. The wise person does not question whether they are good or bad, but accepts they are human, and that humans are multifaceted beings who cannot be, nor should be, defined or quantified in a limiting manner. A wise person realizes that a good person who does good deeds is still capable of bad acts. Jesus probably told fart jokes. And that a bad person who does bad deeds is capable of doing good. Darth Vader does throw the Emperor into that laser tunnel or whatever. It is wise to understand that the very acts you condemn or revere might result in consequences that are vastly different to those you expected. Good intentions and good deeds may give rise to catastrophe, while bad intentions and bad deeds may give rise to change that brings nothing but good. A wise person knows that even if they were to possess all of the combined knowledge of man, that what they would know would be equal to a single star in an ever-expanding universe full of an infinite number of stars. That's the wisdom of the fool. Goes on the journey, and there's even a star, like a Metatron star up there. It goes on the full circle, and it comes back and says, I know nothing. Let me apply what little I do know and not hold on too tightly to it and laugh at the game, right? A wise person knows not to define or limit, but because humanity is full of limitless possibilities, or no, but because we're fully potential, we're the fool card. We can do anything. We are constantly evolving and therefore unknowable. We are part of the great mystery, capital G, capital M, and limited only by our narrow perceptions and understanding of what was, what is, and what might be. Belief structures limit and create limitations in a large way. When the wisdom card appears in your present, it says there is a beautiful wisdom in accepting that you do not have all the answers, and that your opinion and beliefs, what you believe to be truths, are sometimes unimportant in the grand scheme of things. There are things you might know and things you need to know, but there are also things that are not for you to know, and speculation will gain you nothing but lost time. The wisdom card in the present represents a beautiful paradox, a need to accept that you are both wise and ignorant. The Fool card, wise and ignorant. Your wisdom is your truth, but it is only your truth. Your truth is not absolute. I forgot to mention this astrology of the day, but the South Node is in Sagittarius, and the North Node is in Gemini. We're having to be playful, right? That's where we're going karmically, and not saying I have the truth and you have to believe my truth. All truths are true for the person holding that truth, and it moves around a little, and to try to impose one's truth on somebody else is not compassionate. Ultimately, it's not loving. The sun is in Sagittarius, the moon is in Pisces, Mercury is conjunct the sun right now, 28 degrees, Sagittarius, Venus is in Sag, Mars is in Aries, Jupiter and Saturn are in Aquarius. We are in it's talking about new beginnings. We are in a new era, folks. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. This is the basic structure, foundation being laid for what we call and what will be over a long period of time, and an aeon being the age of Aquarius. We're just starting the ground level, and this is what this looks like, right? Starting anew with wisdom that isn't proselytizing, with truth that isn't condemning. We've got to rise out of the illusion a little better. Uranus is in retrograde in Taurus, Neptune's in Pisces, and Pluto is in Capricorn. And like I said, the North Node is in Gemini. So we need to be playful and open, ultimately moving towards truth, our truth, through experiences, through blunders, through mistakes, through, opportunities. Life is an opportunity. You don't want to hide, because when you go into a cave, it's actually the universe. There's stars in there. Oh my gosh, wow, there's a whole universe. It's an opportunity. I would have passed this by if I just said it was just a cave. Judgments aren't going to work right now. We're leaving those things. And with Jupiter and Saturn now in Aquarius, we have the ability to stretch our understanding, reach for the stars, so to speak, and ultimately come to a place of new awareness. The new paradigm is here. How are you participating with it is really the question, because we out here. It's the age of Aquarius. It's the stuff we've been waiting for. Like I said, it's not like a single day defines it. It's more of like color palettes shift and fade, and what is real red when it's shifting from orange to yellow and all this kind of stuff. But change, Andromeda, very appropriate for all this energy, all this changing energy. 3. My hands are freezing. My room is very cold. All right, so not on page 42. So we've got the 0 card on page 22, 22 major arcana, syncretistic there. Wisdom was on page 72, sacred number there, 72 names of God, 72 triangles of the Sri Yantra, and then we have page 42 with number 3. All this numerologic, deep lessons, Saturn for our hearts, for our consciousness, heart chakra day. Andromeda, change, parallel timeline. Number 3, in physical reality, change is the only constant. We spend so much time and energy trying to keep things the same that we miss the profound experience that change brings. The Fool card, going through the journey. The wise man only became wise because he went through a lot of changes and experiences and metamorphose and transmutation. Andromedans live in a very unusual reality paradigm, that of constant change. The change is so dramatic that the only way to orient yourself in reality is to have a strong inner compass based on conscientiousness. Or consciousness. Yeah, consciousness. You have pulled this card because either you have a strong connection with Andromedans, heard, you love change, or you need to connect with the Andromedan energy and let go of the fear of change. This is your next lesson. It's like, step into the next lesson. We're all in it together, especially with the changes that are happening. And Saturn and Capricorn Saturn was in Capricorn, and so was Jupiter and Pluto for the whole past year, just doing their crazy Bash Brothers shit on our karmic systems, right? And now we're stepping in. It's like, what do you want to really build? As well as what's going to work, what's not going to work for the future. Astrology, Aquarius. Astrology is ruled by Aquarius and Gemini. But anyway, I digress. It may seem odd that the energy of a galaxy outside of ours is being utilized in this deck. The reason for this is that you can see yourself more clearly when there's a contrasting idea that could serve as a comparison, right? Man and woman know each other. Men know what they are, and women know what they are more fully, I guess you could say, by comparison. Doesn't make one better or worse. It's just like, right? Drawing comparisons, Vesica Pisces stuff. The energy of the Andromedan galaxy provides this contrast to help see ourselves more clearly. Within the template of experience in our reality lies the issue of polarity. This is a primary theme we must explore on our way back to wholeness. In addition, we have a tendency to like things to stay the same so that we can feel safe and secure. It's an illusion of the character that we're playing. Right? This wise person didn't become wise because they stayed put, necessarily. They moved around and took risks. There's also, there's a season for everything. A time to sit still and a time to meditate. A time to move and a time to take action. A time to, always with compassion and always with love, heart chakra. That's the real wisdom. That's the real truth. Saturn's day. The lesson. The karmic lesson. This part of, this is a primary theme we must explore on our way back to wholeness. In addition, we have a tendency to like things to stay the same so that we can feel safe and secure. This part of our nature is based on ego need. And until we transcend that need, we will always stay stuck. And how do you transcend it? Hold on loosely. Life is a joke, Fool card. That's the real wisdom card, right? Living in an Andromedan reality requires us to create an anchor to reality in our own consciousness rather than the outside world. This is an important concept that is actually has to do with how humans will eventually master space travel. That is some Saturn and Jupiter and Aquarius shit. Mastering Saturn, like the master teacher, and Aquarius space. I lost my place. Okay. So this is an important concept that actually has to do with how humans will eventually master space travel. It is also profoundly connected to spiritual awakening, which has to do very much with the Fool card. That's the Fool's journey of awakening. Thus, Andromedas act as masters and guides for our evolution, teaching us to move from polarity and the fear of change to integration and the embracing of change as the nature of reality. If this card appears in your spread, look closely at your relationships to change. Are you addicted to it, or do you fear it? Perhaps it is time to forge a new relationship with one of the only constants in life, change. And I can even say from personal experience, I'm 35, I've smoked pot more than half my life. I've grown weed for multiple years. I would never have thought I would have come to a place where I didn't need it. I always thought I would want it, but I was like, I need this to feel normal. I need this to function. I prefer this as a way of being. And now I'm at a place where that's not so much the case. And that change is amazing. It's very freeing, right? I'm not just a stoner. Now I can find wisdom in other territories. Doesn't mean smoking weed is bad or whatever. Um, I'm not going to put a value on it, but for me, in my path on my journey, on the Fool's Journey, there's changes happening, and a lot of things that I used to overly identify with possibly are removing themselves from my path. Like I said, I'm not pushing that on anybody else. If you want to smoke blunts, go for it. But I think the energy that's coming in nowadays is about like being aware and awake and able. And that might mean, depending on your chart, hit me up for reading, that might mean doing psychedelics and loosening up. You know, if you take things very seriously and are uptight, you might want to smoke a joint every now and then or whatever and loosen up. Or, you know, have a shamanic journey with mushrooms or whatever. And then if you're already really playful on the Fool card, it's like that's only going to increase that in a weird way. So you need to like become wise and grounded in like ritualistic use, if at all, right? That kind of thing. Prosperity, the peacock, number 39. This is, I believe, Lakshmi, but I could be wrong. We're about to find out. Hopefully you all are doing well. I've actually reduced my readings, my natal chart readings, astrology readings, half price, $44 for 2 to 4 hours. Check it out. Hit me up. And then cards are $22. More 22 cents, right? So holla at your boy. This is Peacock Prosperity. Prosperity is coming to you. A flow of abundance is on its way. Expect a new income stream. Clear the energy in your home or office. Do not be afraid of success. You can rise from difficult circumstances. The Fool card is saying changes happen. You can rise. You could fall. Changes happen. There's wisdom in knowing both and not judging either. But take risks as the Fool and be willing to embrace life as it is and where you would want it to be. The Indian peafowl is India's national bird and features in many stories within the Hindu pantheon. According to Hindu beliefs, the peacock was created from one of the feathers of the mythological bird Garuda. The god Shiva rides a peacock into battle, Krishna wears a peacock feather in his headband, and Indra sheltered from his enemies under the wing of a great peacock and rewarded him by creating 1,000 eyes upon his feathers so it would not have to worry about snakes ever again. It is the belief that peacock feathers bring prosperity to a house that links it with the benevolent Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the Hindu goddess of wealth, light, and general prosperity. Beautiful, long-haired, golden-skinned, and dressed in red, she is commonly depicted surrounded by 2 royal elephants showering her with a flow of abundant water, along with a river of gold coins pouring from her hands. She is sitting on a lotus, a flower that symbolizes an arising from difficult circumstances, right? Rising through it. Fool card changes. And Lakshmi is sometimes pictured with her son, the god Ganesh, who is the god of removing and placing obstacles. And those obstacles on our Fool's Journey, Fool card, those changes in the Tao, change card, are what make us wise, right? So, like, be grateful for both trials and tribulations, as well as overcoming those things, and perceived overcoming. Her expression is invariably calm, graceful, and benevolent, which is sometimes the opposite of how we feel around money and our own finances. If you keep peacock feathers in your home, a flow of wealth will come to it, blessed by Lakshmi herself. This is especially important at Diwali, her biggest festival, which is also called the Festival of Lights. Oil lamps and candles are lit in every home, particularly inside and outside of every shop and business. These lights are not only to honor the goddess, but also to draw her to the place for her blessing of prosperity. The feathers are also said to keep flies and other bad insects from the home and to invite in vibrant health. The animal. Peacocks are endemic to India and Sri Lanka and other countries in Southeast Asia, or South Asia it says. They are an introduced species widely across the world. The female peahens are smaller than the males and are brown color. The males, the peacocks, have spectacular coloring and the famous many-eyed fan-shaped tail. Although there is some debate about the evolutionary function of the tail, it has been suggested that it indicates a male is vital, healthy, and a good mate. When we see a peacock in a park or a zoo, we may not understand what a heavy burden this tail is. But if you get a chance to see a wild peacock, you understand that dragging such a weight around has to make the peacock more susceptible to predators and more ungainly in flight. The tail gets caught in brush, and it is conspicuous. Peacocks have a loud call and can be heard over long distances. The males have a sharp spur on the back of their lower leg, and that they use that for battling each other over females in territory. It is such a beautiful bird, but it is also a tough bird. The magic. Peacock magic is shimmering and rich. It is an energy you can call upon when you need more abundance in all areas of your life. Like the goddess Lakshmi, the peacock represents beauty and pure light. So when you need to clear your space, call upon this iridescent power. Symbology's eyes, tail feather, Shiva riding a battle peacock, peacock feathers over the third eye. Status is of least concern. I mean, if they're a national bird of India, I'm going to guess there's quite a few. They might be like, I don't think they're probably as bad as pigeons in New York, but they're probably shit tons of them. So let's go ahead and get an art oracle card and a crystal card, and I'm ready to play some electric guitar. I don't know about y'all. Itching to play, even though it's really cold. We have Vincent van Gogh. Talk about the Fool card, right? He died without anybody ever knowing what he did. He kind of died anonymous, essentially. A few people knew about him, and not rich, not famous. We know him now, posthumously. He's kind of the patron saint for artists, in a way. Beethoven, him, are some of my favorites. Aimless and weird. Guys, can you make this shit up? Aimless and weird. Doesn't have a goal. He's weird because he's laughing at everything, right? He's in the book of changes, life. Aimless and weird. Vincent van Gogh drifted, just like the Fool card. Job hopped and found/lost God and fell in love quite a few times, usually unrequited, before finally devoting himself to painting. He became wise through his painting, but he had to go through life's obstacles to get to that place. Very much understand his vibe. His brother Theo had the uneasy task of being Vincent's confidant, benefactor, and art dealer. A complex and moving relationship captured in their exchange of letters. Battling lifelong mental despair, Vincent created some of his greatest works, such as The Starry Night, while institutionalized. The Fool. You're a fool. You're crazy, right? He was actually in a mental institution when he made Starry Night. Vincent's famous ear-related self-harm incident distracts from his emotional, enormously influential post-impressionism. The fact that he died a poor unknown but is among the world's most renowned artists today has inspired generations of talentless art students to keep at it. Ironic little jab there from the author. It says, if committed, stay committed. Whether in, okay, this is going to be kind of paradoxical, so bear with me. We've committed to being. We're committed on the Fool's journey. We're committed to our heart chakra day. We're committed to the lessons of life, Saturn's day. We're committed to gaining wisdom, potentially. And our commitment to that striving in reality can, be less or more, right? That can change. We can have times of life where it's like, we don't take this seriously. It's fine, ultimately. We shouldn't take it too seriously. But we're not taking it seriously. We're going 3 steps back. And then sometimes we're going 10 steps forward. And then we're going 2 steps sideways. Changes happen, right? But we're always blessed with exactly what we need, whether it's the breath of our lungs or the food on our plates, the friends in our lives, the tears to transmute collective and personal pain and fear, right? If you're committed, if you're in life, don't just cop out. Don't just sell out. Don't just disappear. Hold on loosely, laughing, knowing it's a game, right? That is the wisest thing to do in this book of changes called life. That's how you can probably, know when to fold them and know when to hold them. Prosperity comes to wise people, not fools, typically. Though the fool can win a jackpot every now and then. Life is funny like that. But if we're committed, stay committed, right? We're on the path. Don't try to veer. Your path might wind. Your path might, like I said, double back and go this way. Don't give up. You're on the Fool's journey, and there's going to be many iterations for that. Don't lose hope. So this is an amazing looking stone. It's got Saturn's cube. If you've ever never heard of that conspiracy theory, check that shit out. But there's a Saturnian cube even in this stone, which is pyrite. What it is, pyrite, aka fool's gold. Guys, I tickle myself. I love the magic. The fool's gold, wisdom, right? The fool's gold here. Prosperity, gold, right? If you're committed, just keep digging. The gold of the sunflower, the gold of the heart, the gold of life itself. Pyrite, aka fool's gold, is a metallic sulfide mineral. Its blingy, confident vibes and often perfect cubic structure align us with nature's power to give energy to amazing, beautiful things. Like you, baby. Who needs it? The chronically lethargic, anybody sleeping on their potential, right? When we're not engaging in the Fool's journey properly. When we're just, it's holding on loosely, but you still want to commit. You're committed. If you're committed to life and living, commit to it fully. Where to put it? Pyrite is often used near the solar plexus or will center, but it works wonders anywhere you need a little boost of masculine energy. For example, on the fellows, the low abdomen, just saying. When to use it? On that romantic weekend away from the kids, and whenever the energy to power through feels shrouded in dark matter, right? When the commitment feels waning, and you're just like, damn, I don't know if I can do this. Whatever, the diet, the the exercise, the relationship, the magic, right? Even I haven't done ayahuasca, but if you start like kind of not committing to like breathing and surrendering basically probably during a drug trip like that, you might end up getting committed to a psych ward like a fool. Just kidding. So, whenever the energy to power through feels shrouded in dark matter, and look, shrouded in dark matter, even in the wisdom, shrouded in dark matter. There's a cave, right? So it says call on your core power, and ultimately it's talking about the solar plexus, but I really do believe our heart is the middle of the chakras. It's our core power. This is the electromagnetic Iron Man kind of generator that's allowing the fool to be at all. Your mind is not what's keeping you alive. Your heart is, literally, like it's pumping the blood to give your brain the blood to function, right? And there's wise way. You'll find your wisdom. Here's the weird thing about like gene keys and stuff like that, where it's like everybody has a shadow, and they're walking, and many shadows, and they're walking through these paths, the Fool card, into their gifts and cities, wisdom, and they're all different. It's based off the I Ching, the Book of Changes, the gene keys, and it brings prosperity, knowing thyself. When you know how you function, when you know what you should be doing or shouldn't be doing based off of your structure, not the projected structures of others. What's your play? What's your highest joy and highest excitement? What's your joy, right? Gemini North Node, not what's your duty and what's the truth, period, thus says the Lord, South Node, Sag. We're kind of moving away from that. Doesn't mean those things aren't true. There's some wisdom in them, but like, hold on loosely, even to truth. Know that your truth isn't the truth, right? It was saying. Changes happen, so one day you might be an introvert, next day you might be on a fucking stage. One day you might be on a stage, then you have, or Napoleon was a warrior and a public figure and thought he was God, and then he was on the island of Alba, exiled, writing books, right? So it's like changes happen. Prosperity, abundance is always available, right? So stay committed to the dream. If you commit to it, it will commit to you. Hold on loosely, simultaneously, because you don't want to overcommit and then just be like, oh, well, I never got that car. I hated life. It's like you're doing the game wrong. Potentially. Call me up for a chart reading. We could look at your chart and talk about all your pitfalls and all your glories. But call on your core power. You have a heart, and you are a living being and a conscious machine, and it's a joy and a privilege. Never forget that. The fool's journey indeed. So, I wasn't planning on jamming on electric, but I've changed my mind, so here we go. Oh boy. Can it hold? Good enough. Alright, so. Fool card, one of my favorites. I'm always told I'm a fool. And it did talk about contrarians. I have a lot of Gemini and Uranus energy. Got this weird song from the 2000s. All the things you said, running through my head. So I don't know why that's in there. But we've got the Fool card with wisdom. So we will get wisdom when we act more foolish. The more wise we try to be, the more foolish we might look and feel. But the more kind of playful we are, coming from the heart chakra, the more wise we'll ultimately be. Paradox, I know. Where's this hole? There it is. You get the idea. My hands are freezing, so I gotta stop. But this is kind of a theme variation.